Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Today's show is going to be a really quick one. I wanted to go over something that I mentioned a few episodes ago, but since then, a few people have gotten in touch with me and said that they found it really useful. So I wanted to dedicate a whole show to this one unique idea, and it's this whole wedding crashes idea. I wrote an article about it on my Substack. You can check it out on my Substack. And I mentioned it in a video near the start of when I started doing this podcast. I'm only on episode 13, so it's still very near to the start. But the whole idea, I got it from Jameela Jamil, and it's a way to deal with imposter syndrome in a healthier way. And it's really helped me a lot. And as I said, it seemingly has helped quite a few people who listen to the show, who watch the show, who consume my content. The idea is that imposter syndrome happens when we are in a space and we don't feel like we've earned the right to be there. And there are a couple of ways of dealing with this. One is an idea that it's a good thing to feel imposter syndrome. It means that we're growing. Jimmy Carr goes as far to say that if you're not feeling imposter syndrome at least once every 18 months, you're probably not aspiring high enough in your pursuits. I would echo that. And I'd say that imposter syndrome shows that we care, therefore we're heading in the right direction. And it also shows that we're pushing ourselves, which means that we are moving forward. So imposter syndrome really is a sign that we're moving forward in the right direction for us. So we should actually change our relationship to it and we should welcome it. But the wedding crashes idea that I'm talking about today is that if we find ourselves in a space and we don't feel like we belong, we should treat it as if we've crashed a wedding. Now, the name comes from the film Wedding Crashes with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Got these guys, they crash weddings, they weren't invited to it, and they just have a ton of fun. And essentially, it's the same idea. I got it from Jameela Jamil. She speaks about this quite a lot from the content that I've consumed from her. And it's the idea that we go into a wedding. What's our job? Our job is to snog as many people as we can. It's to eat as much cake. It's to dance as much as we can. Have great conversations. Just have a really good time before we eventually get thrown out. And if you've seen the film Wedding Crashes, it's rare that the protagonists actually do get thrown out. Generally, they get recognized as people who are in the wedding, who do know the bride and groom or who were invited and they get accepted. And I think the same is true with imposter syndrome. If we commit to the space that we have found ourselves in or that we've worked to get to and we feel like we shouldn't be there, the only thing we can do is almost pretend to be there and get as much stuff as we can from it. Just glean as much from that experience, absorb as much as we can, be selfish, take as much as we can from that experience before eventually getting thrown out. And in my experience anyway, I've found that when I do this and when I just try to absorb and just take the opportunity for what it is and just do as much as I can, the imposter syndrome kind of fades away. And then all of a sudden, I'm like the furniture. I feel like I belong in that space. And the interesting thing is, when I personally feel like I belong in that space, usually, that's a time to go and find another, to use the metaphor, that's a time to go and find another wedding to crash. That's the time where, okay, I've reached a plateau. It's time to strive again. It's time to try and find something else. And that's how I kind of keep striving forward. So in essence, we should strive to feel some kind of imposter syndrome all the time. And that doesn't necessarily mean, for example, going to find a new job every 6 months or something, but maybe you should push yourself in the job that we have, or maybe it's a case of doing a different training plan at the gym or taking a different route to get to work or, just feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Because if we feel imposter syndrome, as I said before, I think that's an indication that we are striving, one, but number two, that we're striving in the direction that we actually care about, which is potentially the most important thing. So we've got compass alignment and we've got actual effort moving us in a direction. And we should just treat it as if we're crashing a wedding. It takes all of the stress and the performative elements off. And for me, it's really settled my mind in focusing on I'm just here for me. I'm here in a selfish capacity to have as much fun as I can. Even if I don't belong here, I'm going to take everything that I can from it and run with it. And as I said, 9 times out of 10, if I do that, then I do end up belonging. And then it ends up being the fact that I want to find another wedding to crash. And that's the wedding crashes analogy. And that is what, 5.5 minutes? Very quick episode today to start your Thursday morning. I'll be back on Saturday with another podcast episode. They're coming out every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. I've managed to stay consistent. I've got a ton of great content in the pipeline. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting so far. Please get in touch with me on social media at Jaden LM Haynes. And let me know what you'd like to hear going forward, any guests that you'd like to hear from, the types of guests you'd like to hear. I've had a ton of great feedback so far, and that has literally transpired with this episode. This is part of the reason why I did this episode, because people got a lot of people got a lot of value out of this story, this way of seeing imposter syndrome. So please keep the feedback coming. Please keep enjoying the show. And until Saturday, I hope you have a great rest of your week and indeed weekend. Thank you for listening.